creepers, man. Ow!
He's got big wrists.
I got big wrists and I cannot lie. Oh, jeez. These things are so uncomfortable. This is, come on. All right. Oh, man, I can explain. Just give me a second. Honestly. Well, this is MariTIME Machines, and we're talking about something that I describe as the future of policing here in Nova Scotia. And we're in Bridgewater, and you're watching MariTIME Machines. Mayor David Mitchell, Mayor of Bridgewater. Thank you very much for joining the conversation. MariTIME Machines is talking about not just things that move, but, you know, how in some ways they're kind of time machines. Looking at this sort of as the future of police vehicles. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with that discussion of why this might have been a good fit for the town, considering this is the only one in Atlantic Canada in the Maritimes.
Yeah, so where we started was there was a couple of pieces to this. First of all, our police vehicles are getting more expensive to buy, but also more expensive to operate. The other was the federal government made it clear that by 2035 there will be no gasoline-powered cars, and that would include police cars. So the transition was going to happen. There was an opportunity to pilot an EV. The Tesla made sense because it was available almost immediately, and so we made the decision. It checked all the boxes to try one, and so far so good.
Now, your personal vehicle is a Tesla. This is a Model 3. What do you drive?
I drive 2018, so I bought a very used one.
Okay. Now, when you had questions, and I know there were questions when you said, let's do this, let's pilot this, what was your answer? How did you kind of overcome some of those maybe apprehensions about, well, we've never done this, so why should we try this?
Yeah, so the first one is cost. So the initial cost of any EV is greater than the initial cost of a gas-powered car. So if we're going to pay more for the vehicle, how are we going to justify that purchase? And so you do the research and you realize that the savings far outweigh that cost. So this car was anticipated to save us about $5,000 a year over its, petrol-powered equivalent. Mm-hmm. We're going to exceed that. So that's not just the fuel versus electricity, but the maintenance. Electric cars have far fewer moving parts. There's a lot less maintenance. So that doesn't even take into account the cost of carbon and all those things, right? Mm-hmm. Which is only going to get greater. So once we did the math of, is it going to save us money? That allowed us to kind of move to the next step, which was, will it even work? Right. How many kilometers do we use on each patrol? How do you charge? We don't have a fast charger in Bridgewater right now, so does the level 2 charger get us through those daily patrols? And then when we checked that box and the answer was a resounding yes, there really was no reason not to pursue it.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you as well, sir.
How long have you been with Bridgewater Police?
I'm going to my 5th year right now.
5 years. And what kind of work have you been doing with Bridgewater Police?
Started off as a patrol constable. Right now I've been tasked as traffic.
Now this car came almost a year ago to the department.
Correct.
Have you been the only one tasked with this vehicle?
I am right now, presently. Before I was tasked with schools headed as well to introduce to the kids.
And when you're out on a patrol or you're pulling someone over and they go, wait a minute, do they notice right away that this is an electric vehicle?
No, they don't. Majority of them will say, oh my gosh, it's a Tesla. I'd never realized there was a police car that was a Tesla.
Have you ever pulled over another Tesla?
Yes.
And it wasn't the mayor's?
No, it wasn't the mayor's.
Okay, just wanted to check. Now, this is the first in the Maritimes, I understand.
Correct.
Now, do you talk to other departments? Have you had people call, hey, you're using this, how's it working?
We've got different departments down here to look at the vehicle. Obviously, there might be in the works for them to get them. It depends.
And this is something that has kind of, captured a lot of people's imagination. We're making this move to electric, getting out of internal combustion engines. Is there anything about this car that makes it easier to do your job?
You mean, as far as charging and stuff, I go 200 kilometers a day.
Okay.
So fueling is not an issue. I plug it in at night. I work an 8-hour shift, so I plug it in. Yeah, so it's nothing complicated about the vehicle once you get used to it.
And you're not going to see people go, well, it's electric. I'll just keep driving. Eventually, he'll run out of juice.
I don't hear that so often. It's just the element of surprise surprises everybody more or less.
Now, this is a little bit smaller, so you're not going to be using this the same way you would if people were being put into the car?
Correct,
okay.
Yeah. So it's tasked as traffic. It is there for other uses as well if we do need a patrol vehicle, because it is fully marked with all the capabilities of another patrol car.
And Chief Feener was saying he's about to get another one, another electric vehicle, but it's not a Tesla.
No, it would be a Ford pickup, a Lightning.
You, in your life, are you an electric car person?
No, I'm not.
So what is it about, the old school that you like?
Just the sound, I guess, more than anything. The raw power, the performance,
Right,
is what I grew up on, and this is a whole new generation, and I think it's a great generation to get into.
And this has a different kind of power. You don't hear it,
No,
but you feel it.
You feel it. It's instantaneous. It's not like the old muscle cars of yesterday where you heard the noise, and then this is just, there's no lack of power. It's right there.
All right. Well, I think we should probably take a walk around a bit and show some more features here.
Certainly.
So people can understand that as a electric car, it also still is a fully functioning police vehicle. So before we take a look inside, I just think it's kind of interesting because it looks like a trunk, but they call it a front trunk. So maybe we should pop that and take a look at just to see what's inside.
Certainly. So it's basically a storage compartment, but you're going to see
Not a lot of room.
not a lot of room.
No, you're not going to put a body in there.
No, you're not going to put much in there.
Yeah. But I really like to take a look at the inside of the vehicle just to get a sense. I have been in the front seat of a police car, cruiser before, so I'd like to kind of get a look at what that might be like too. Okay, every little kid wants to get into a police car and know how the lights and sirens work. So how does this system work?
So right here is the sirens.
Yep.
Up here is the lights, the different features. Just being in the full position, we'll throw all the lights on. This one here will. Next level will just the front lights.
Yep.
So would you like me to try a siren for you?
Can
I know
I-
you're a little kid at
Can
heart.
Can I do it?
Excellent. Well, you can. That
Okay,
little
so-
down there you can turn.
All right, well, wait. Lights first.
Yep,
'Cause
go
lights,
right ahead.
You always do lights first?
Exactly. Yeah.
Lights first. Lights are on. Siren. All of them. All of them. All of them. That is too cool. That is too cool. Yay for fun. These are very fun cars. This one's a tool for a job, so it's a little bit different, but I'm guessing that you did get some pushback. You're a very good communicator, and I know on Facebook and on social media, you weren't afraid of telling people why you were so passionate about this. And I'm wondering, did you get calls from other mayors, other communities? There's no direct oversight. There's a board of police commissioners, and we know that that's a bit of a cushion or an insulation between the day-to-day operations and the management. But I'm just wondering, are you getting calls saying, so we want to do this, what's your advice?
Yeah, so for sure. So I'll just back up a little bit. The biggest thing that I've noticed is the lack of education around EVs.
Right.
And I would put that on EV manufacturers who are just selling their vehicle saying it goes the distance you need it to go, but they're not explaining how you recharge. I got hundreds of questions from people, everything from if electricity and water don't mix, how can you drive it in the rain? That was a legitimate question that someone asked.
Okay.
To, well, I'll just be able to outrun it on my bicycle, because they think they're slow, because we think of things that are electric, we might just think of e-bikes, things like that. So addressing that educational component was time consuming but vital. And then, like my colleagues have had calls from mayors all the way across to the West Coast saying, we saw that you purchased this, how is it going? We're going to do the same. And many of them, dozens of them, have followed suit. Different types, some Teslas, some Model Ys, not Model 3s. Some are buying the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is what we have coming as well.
Right.
Because there's just going to be more and more. So lots of them are following suit.
I would say one of the biggest differences between a Tesla and most any other car is this. This is the controls. So what does this specifically have to do with the job that you have, Scott?
Specifically, it tells me my rate of speed. If I need to go to a call somewhere, I have nav, of course, so I can punch in the coordinates to ensure that I get there the most effective route possible and as quick as possible. Sometimes speed is of the nature. Other than that, if doing general patrol, just Korean license plates, it's something that I have to have dispatched to through my CB radio, through my radio here.
So in one of the other vehicles that Bridgewater Police has, you can type something in and run a vehicle on the side of the road?
Correct.
So that sounds like a bit of an issue. Is that because you don't want to integrate the police information with Tesla?
I would say that would probably be the majority part of it.
And how, well, you're doing daily patrols in your traffic. I mean, that sounds like it's a bit of a hassle for you.
It can be, especially if there's a call coming in. I mean, I'm working in conjunction with 3 other people that are on patrol during that day, maybe 4. So, I mean, I don't want to jam somebody that's going to an emergency when I'm just trying to query a plate to see if it's expired or what have you.
So that does add a layer of complexity to that. We've been talking a lot about this, and I see the radio's coming in. And you're off duty, so we're not going to get a call here. But we got to take a drive because that's what this whole show is about. This in some ways is a time machine, but this is a time machine moving policing into the future, in my opinion.
Correct.
And the simulated wood grass, or is that real? I don't know. That's not
wood grain simulated.
So I don't know. I think we need to take a little bit of a cruise here. How's that sound with you?
That sounds great to me.
And the sooner we get that done, the sooner your weekend can start, eh?
Excellent, thank you.
Sounds good. All right. So when you're working on patrol, you're by yourself?
Yes.
And if you need any help, it's just a call for...
It's just a call out.
Okay.
Yeah. Even a simple traffic stop, there's always a member that will come by. Or I'll do the vice versa. We're never too far away. I mean, Bridgewater's so big.
You've been working as a police officer for 5 years?
5th year.
And you had another career before this?
Correct.
And so you're one of those fellas who comes to this, one of these people who had a different job and a different life experience. So how does that affect the way that you approach policing?
I have a lot of experience dealing with the public. I ran my own business, obviously, so I know how to talk to people as well, communicate with them, and be personable. And
well, times have changed in the last few years.
They sure have, especially after COVID.
And how has that affected, I guess, the morale and the way that you approach your job, and the fact that there are some people who are, whether it's saying defund or whether it's saying police need more resources in different ways, or maybe police aren't always the best people to show up at a call. How does that sit with someone whose job it is, who has this broad life experience?
It's hard because you like to treat people. You got to treat people fairly, and you want to be treated the way you treat people. Is what my attitude is. So I treat everybody fairly. At the end of the day, people are people.
And you're happy with this career choice?
Yes, I am. She's on her cell phone.
It's amazing to me that people don't recognize how obvious it is.
Yeah, and people are oblivious to it. I mean, I had a gentleman this week that he was on the Veterans Bridge, cell phone up like this.
Yeah.
And I initiate a traffic stop, and it's like, I go up to the window, introduce myself, and I said, obviously, you know the reason I'm pulling you over. And he's like, no. I said, well, you're on your cell phone. Well, I wasn't talking to him. I said, it's still a handheld device in your hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I never realized, right?
Do you think that'll ever change? Do you think that law will ever change?
The law will never change, and people will never change.
I know it's distracted driving at its core.
Yep.
But we've got now a touch screen.
And I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
I got this big touch screen that you can do everything on.
And Wi-Fi in cars, and never mind the radio, and the kids or the dogs are...
Yeah.
It's. I can understand why people get frustrated by it, but I don't think people understand that police officers don't make the laws.
No, we don't. We enforce them. They're there for safety reasons, right?
Yeah. Although they do change laws. It was 1923. They said, well, we're going to start driving on the right side.
Yeah.
Instead of the left side.
Exactly.
So there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
But you look at it, sometimes it just doesn't.
We don't make the laws. The laws are there set in place to protect other motorists.
Right. But that's a social contract.
Exactly.
It's the greater good of acting responsibly And yeah, maybe you're safe in the moment. Maybe you aren't a distracted driver. But you don't know that from looking on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to that regenerative brake, is it like as soon as you pull your foot off the gas, it starts to slow down automatically?
Yeah.
Okay, like a golf cart.
Yeah, exactly. So you can come to a stop sign, and I hardly use the brakes.
Right.
Because it will automatically just stop for you, right? Like here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're gonna stop, right?
Right.
That vehicle's just further. So.
You could have caught him. But there's no regrets?
None, no regrets. It was a great decision. Like I said, if you really want to look at it from dollars and cents, which is what most people want to know, like you paid more for this car, but is the value there? The value far exceeds what we thought it would. So that for sure. But it's been a great vehicle, and there's some things you can't put a price on. So you roll up to a high school with this car, and the engagement that our school liaison officer and our other members are having with those youth that might already be a little bit predisposed to being apprehensive about police. They're now flocking around this car, asking all those questions, building that rapport. What's that worth?
Right.
To me, it's worth millions. So having that has made the car just that much more valuable.
So you mentioned this is kind of a heavy car.
It is.
And I mean, you've got other cars in your life that are old cars, old mechanical beasts. This feels heavier. Does it feel lazier? I mean, it's hard to tell what the torque is because you've got the power.
It's heavier.
Right.
Like I say, the power is instantaneous. There's no drive line loss. It's right there. I mean, it's just like you said earlier. It's like a golf cart.
It is. Well, I was going to say strange to have no engine noise, but new vehicles now, when you stop, they shut off.
They shut off and turn on. Yeah, which is mind-numbing.
So much different than the way we grew up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think with the starters disengaging and engaging all the time, it's going to wear them out prematurely, but there must be a reasoning.
Times change and the guidance changes, I guess. Maybe the more we learn, the more we know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know about you, Scott, but the older I get, the less sure I am about some things.
Oh, yeah, same way.
And then there's this other button here, this other little controller.
This one here, so this, as we talked earlier, you'd ask what that little thing in the window was, and I said that was the radar head.
Okay.
So that is the radar head. That's what gives the signal to this box here. This little device here is designed for locking the vehicle speed in.
Okay.
Which you have to do at a speeding.
So when you see it says target speed, that's the vehicle that you're monitoring. Then you hit lock, and then that shows up.
Lock the speed right in the center.
And then you use that information to physically write out a ticket?
Correct.
It's not on a computer, it's all manual.
Yeah, it's all manual and visual.
Well, and you also showed me something that was in the door that I had no idea about, that this is something you have to tune.
Yep, so in the morning, my regular routine is get in the car. So the radar every morning has to be tested. So you power it up, there's a button here. A few buttons over there, there's an internal test which you have to do to the radar every day. Mm-hmm. Once that internal test is completed, you have two tuning forks here, at which point they give you a speed. One has 45, one has 80.
That's kilohertz.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So you tune them, you hold it in front of the head, and it will come up on the target speed 45.
And it'll so it's sensing the. Okay, I'm not going to get into how a radar works because that's beyond my capabilities to understand. But that's part of this whole
correct
veracity, so that when people say I wasn't doing that speed, and you'll say, well, yes, this is.
It's been calibrated. It's been calibrated and tested this morning.
Right.
It's ready to go. And therefore, every interaction you have with a speeding ticket, the speeder, you still have to do that after the ticket.
And as you say, it's a daily charge or every couple of days?
Every couple days. So the third day I'll put it on charge.
Now, people will look at environmental, and I'm not talking about the economic or the environmental impact that way, but just it gets cold, and these cars run a heat pump to keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. So does that affect your...
Yeah, winter time I've noticed that the charge you have to do more frequently because of the drain with like the heat pump going and keeping it defrosted.
Yeah, we're not quite to summer, but last summer it got hot. The car stayed cool?
It did, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And zip, just like that. Silent, stealth, and gone.
So as you can see by the radar here,
Yeah.
so I'm traveling 102, so it's picking up
Right.
the other speeds of the other vehicles.
So it's actually tracking the vehicles in front of us,
yeah.
so you know how quick they're going.
So right, yeah, so here with the towers and stuff, it will double up, so it's not a true accurate measure, but then it comes back.
Right.
So that vehicle's 112.
So do you ever notice people's driving behavior changes dramatically when they see you? Even if it's in a stealthy little Tesla?
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially when people see like you're behind them and they notice it's a car, they just slow right down.
Yeah. Below the speed limit sometimes?
Yes. So now people slow down, right?
Yeah. This is actually kind of cool. You get in trouble. Think they're running from you.
Yeah.
Home again, home again.
3 kids in the back.
There we are.
There we are, sir.
We made it.
Too bad, wasn't it?
No, we made it.
You survived my driving, which
Oh,
is,
hell,
which is good.
I'm sure that wouldn't have been an issue anyway. Part of this next question is a bit different because Tesla integrates everything into their display, but there's an added layer of not being able to communicate directly. The computer's not on board that would give them the chance to. Are you willing or interested to have conversations about trying to get to that next level of how, what police need fits inside the car and they're not using dispatch to run plates and things like that?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of conversations because more and more police departments are using Teslas, especially Model 3s. There are a couple of people, especially in Ontario, that are building the rigs that hold the laptops because it's not as easy. You just can't bolt to anything, right? There's a whole battery pack underneath, so you can't drive 4 screws into some kind of bracket into the battery. So there's a gentleman that's reached out to us already to say, I can build this and I can put it in the car. And I know that there's a local Nova Scotia company that has said they've come out to take a look at this already to say, I think we can build some kind of rig so you can use the computers and you can just kind of be like every other police car.
Well, congratulations on the success. It's a lot of fun to see how you can turn people around, get them to sort of downplay some of the negativity and embrace this, unless, of course, they're on the side of the road getting a ticket because they were speeding.
Yeah, and that's one thing that people forget, that we have a Tesla police car. So the number of people that I know look in the rearview mirror and go, okay, there's no police behind me when this is right behind them. I know there's been a few that have been stopped.
David Mitchell, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Now, can I get these off, please? The reels? Please? Hey. Friggin', I'll walk off.